Hi, hope you're doing well. This video is part of the Citrix NetScaler ADC training, which we are doing upon receiving multiple requests from many people. So, this module, what we are going to cover is understanding hardware components and their purpose. This is very important when you are dealing with any NetScaler physical appliance because this is an eye opener. Because to be very frank, when I started my career, I didn't understand most of the things. So the agenda of this module is identify the NetScaler details. Okay, let's say that you have a customer and you don't know, you just went there, you saw a NetScaler, how to know what edition is this, what kind of NetScaler it is. So this we will cover that. Next, we will talk about finding the hardware details for specific models. So how to find it. Then we will discuss about NetScaler ADC front panel, right? So NetScaler ADC has front panel and back panel, right? We will discuss about each and every port and what is the purpose of each port. And configuring LACP. This is very important. Actually, LACP can be part of a different module, but I put it here because LACP, is what we do in mostly when we play with physical appliances. That's why I put it here. So we will discuss how to configure LACP in NetScaler. LACP is typically for availability, and we discuss in the last about the communication flow, of the NetScaler. Let's try jump in. As we saw in the agenda, we need to first identify the NetScaler, right? How to identify the right NetScaler? It's very simple. If you have a NetScaler, if you saw a NetScaler, just go and reach out to NetScaler, press this button, middle button. When you press this button, you will see the NetScaler MPX or SDX, on the model here. Based on the model, you can actually open the data sheet and you can find out what does this provides, like what does this model provides, what is the throughput and other things. The links and for the Citrix NetScaler data sheets for all the hardware appliances and all the details are in the description below. Please refer to that. Now let's try jump into the NetScaler ADC front panel details. So in the front panel, see, you have an LCD, small LCD. By the way, I have taken the 8900 series front panel, but more or less 5 series, 8 series, the front panel looks like this. But for SDX, you have a bigger boxes. More or less, you will have the same port, but the alignment will be different. Maybe the 1 gigs will be like this, instead of horizontally, it will be vertical, right? And you might have more 1 gig or less 1 gig, more 10 gigs, like that. But typically you will have the same ports, in all the Citrix NetScaler appliances. So let's start from here. So you have a small LCD. If you want to know, like, let's say that when you don't see anything in the LCD, just press this middle button. You will see the very important thing is NetScaler model. And another important thing is, let's say you reach out to a customer and customer says, I don't know what is the management IP, means NetScaler IP. Just you can see that NetScaler IP here, right? And once you see that, let's say you want to go up and down, just use these keys, and you can navigate them. That is, these 4 keys are just for navigation. So, but this middle button, if you press, actually you will get the details in there. And you have 2 USBs. These USB ports are used, typically if you want to install the firmware or update the firmware, on the NetScaler, you use the USB ports. But these days, to be very frank, no one uses them because the GUI is very stable now. So we can upgrade from the firmwares from GUI. So we generally don't need this. This port, actually, it's a RJ45 port. It is a LOM port. Maybe you might have heard of out of band management. So this is the out of band management port for the NetScaler physical appliance. And this is the management port. Means, let's say you gave a NetScaler NSIP 192.168 1.100. By default, this is the default IP, right? When NetScaler is shipped, you will get the default IP 192.168 1.100. So this IP, actually, if you want to connect and manage, connect your cable in this port, this RJ45. This is actually 10 MB and 100 MB and 1 gig supported. So it depends, on the other end. In the other end, if you connect 100 MB, it will auto negotiate and it will be 100 MB. But this port is used only for management. Why I'm saying only for management, I will come to it later, right? So now this is the console port. Let's say that your NetScaler, crashed, right? I had this case once. Generally, NetScaler doesn't crash, but one of a colleague, when you are updating firmware, it's very important that you should update the major releases one by one. Let's say you are going from 10 series to 12 series, don't go straight to 10 to 12. 10, 10.1, 11, 11.1, and then 12 series firmware. My friend went from 10 series to 12 series straight, and Netscaler, it's crashed completely. So how to recover it? There are some commands, appliance back to the factory reset. So that can be done only from the console port. You need to connect this console port to your laptop like a typical switch, right? You will connect this, connect with the putty, you set the baud rate and other things, and you run the commands, to reset. So this is the only time you generally use console, or else you don't need it. Because for initial configuration also you don't need, because initially the Netscaler will be shipped with 192.168.1.100, which you connect with the management port and you configure. That is when the crash happens. This is the only time I think you use the console port, right? So but it's better to know, and these are 1 gig ports, the top ones, right? 1 gig, actually these are 10 MB, 100 MB, and 1 gig base copper ports. These are all copper, right? These two are copper, these are also copper. Copper means it's RJ45, it's not fiber. That's what copper means. So you have 6 ones here. So some models will have, I think, 4. It depends based on the model. So what you can do here is, when you connect RJ45 cable to the switches, let's say that you are doing one arm mode or two arm mode or multi arm mode, you will connect multiple cables, right? If you want to know what are these one arm mode, two arm mode, multi arm mode, please check the description link below, or at the end of this video. You will know in detail about these Netscaler modes. So let's say that you connected on the switch 100 MB, and you connected the cable to the Netscaler. So Netscaler will auto negotiate to 100 MB. If you want to see what is the switch speed, the speed the switch port is giving, it's very simple. Log into Netscaler, go to System, Network, IPs. You will find it, right? And the down ones, as you can see here, are the fiber ones. So typically when you buy a Netscaler, the most of the people thinks that you get SFPs. No, you don't get SFPs. You need to buy SFPs. So if you need 2 10 gigs, you need to buy 2 SFPs. If you need 4 10 gigs, you need to buy 4 SFPs. But I always recommend, if you are buying a Netscaler MPX or SDX physical boxes, buy at least 2. Even though you are not using from day one, maybe you might need it later, right? So you put SFPs, and these are like called 10.1, 10.2, 10.3, because it is for this is the interface name. Why it is called 1.1, 1.2, 1.3? If you go to the system network interfaces, sorry, in the interfaces you will see these numbers. So if you connect a cable to 1.1, means in the interface it is 1.1, right? In the interface when you are configuring, same thing goes to the 10 gigs. So that's it. So now we need to know the LED status of management on LOM ports, right? Like these, I'm talking about these guys. The status here. There are, by the way, for every RJ45 here, you have LEDs to show you the status of green and red mark, orange mark. Orange means it's not connected, green connected for these. But for these two, these are the indicator. Off means nothing will be shown. If it is flashing yellow, it is active. If it is flashing green, means if you see green here, means the other end it is connected to 100 Mbps switch. So 100 Mbps port. So but if it is amber means generally it's orange, close to orange color. Amber means. So if you see that close to orange color, then it is 1 gig. Other end it is connected 1 gig. Typically we don't use LOM port for MPX boxes. Only for SDX we need LOM port, right? Because SDX we manage things, but for MPX I don't really see a need of using a LOM port. So generally we don't connect this. We use only management. Let's come to the straight to the last one. I have seen some customers, some people has implemented Netscaler in a disastrous mode, where they used only management mode. They didn't connect any of these ports. They connected only this port, and all the traffic is going through this. By the way, it is kind of possible, right? I'm not saying it's not possible. It is kind of possible. And I have seen some customers, they didn't connect the management port. They connected only one cable here, one cable here. They are doing in one arm mode, and everything is working, right? But let's say that this is in the back, it's a card, network card, right? Let's say it fails, you cannot reach the management. It's a disaster. So please guys, when you are doing any design, always consider for a physical appliance using the management port. Let's say you are using one arm mode, no harm, just use this also access, this also access. connect to the same switch. It's just an additional port, that's it, you know. So always remember this, it's very important, because I have seen some customers where people connect only management port and they don't use anything here, they think both are same. Some people connect only here, they don't connect the management port, because they think, yeah, everything is working, but in reality, it's not good. So now let's go to the back panel. Back panel, it's not really big actually. So there are only two things in the actually back. On this side you have the hard disk, you have a clip here, you clip, you remove. Now this is very important to know about the hard disk. Generally Citrix Netscaler will come with Samsung SSDs. This is what I have noticed most of the time. But you might, it might come with the different SSDs also. So the SSDs, it starts from 240 gig, you know, the ssd disks, and it depends on the model. If you go for high end model, you will have big ones. So minimum is it start from 240 gig ssd will come. So let's say that you have a use case of upgrading your mpx to sdx. It's very simple, you remove this ssd, put the new ssd, citrix will ship you. That's it, it will be mpx will become sdx, provided your physical box supports that, right? That's it. So that is the use of SSDs. Generally, you don't see the failures in SSDs. Netscaler, my experience, I haven't seen any failures of hard disks, you know, in all these years. Now there is nothing. There are two fans here. So, but another important thing is only power supply button. So power switch. Power switch, you know, it's like a spring button. If you want to power on, just press this, it will be on. So you know, if there is a failure alarm. By the way, you can see only one power supply here. The reason being is whenever you buy a Netscaler, you get only one power supply by default. So always remember, when you are ordering Netscaler, add an additional power supply here. You can see here it's optional, but you can add another one, because right, you know, you have in the data center you have two PDUs, you have to connect on one on each side, so you need the second one. Always remember, when you are ordering physical boxes, one is SFPs in the front, one is additional power supply in the back. This is very important. Now the power button is very simple. When you want to power on, just press this. When you want to power off or reboot also, press this. It's like a spring button. When you want to disable the alarm button, you can press this one. Now coming to power supply. Power supply, as you know, it uses actually 275 watts, and power consumption in the maximum and minimum is 225 watts. This is the consumption. If you want to know details about each and every model, please check the link down below in the description. I left the data sheets there, so check your model there. You have all the details, power consumption and other things, because sometimes maybe your customer will ask you what is the power consumption. If you have two, remember, if you have two power supplies, give them 275 plus 275, 550, right? That's how it is. So now we'll talk about the LED status of each power supply. So if you have a power supply here, if it is off, you know, you don't see anything. If it is flashing red, you know, no power in the power supply. That's very important, right? So if it is flashing green, power supply in standby mode, you know. If it is green, it is properly working. Generally what happens is it will go to standby and will become full functional. And if it is always showing red, means no flashing, means it's a power supply failure, means your power supply is failed. You need to call Citrix support and they will ship you a new one. So now let's talk about the link aggregation control protocol. What is actually link aggregation control protocol, LACP? Link aggregation is nothing but you combine multiple interfaces or multiple links so that you give high throughput. Like as you can see here, coming from multiple ports into a single high speed link. Let's say example, I don't have 10 gig switches, I have only 1 gig switch, right? So but my Netscaler can give up to 10 gig throughput, example, you know, but I have only 1 gig. How I can improve the throughput? Very simple, you connect 4 1 gigs and you make them in LACP, 4 gig throughput. So means what Citrix will do, what this LACP will do, it's not something related to Citrix, it's a typical networking terminology. So the switches, let's say in here you can see 1 2 3 4 are there, all the 1 gig links are bundled and it will become 4 gig here. It doesn't mean it is 1 gig. Let's say there are customers who does the 10 gig also LACP. I have customers, to give more throughput, we connect, let's say 210 gig here, 210 gig here, so total we get 40 gig throughput, you know. For SDX and other things, actually generally we do this. So what this when a network interface is bound to a channel, very actually we talk about channels later. Channel is nothing but LSCP. You make a channel, it's a group. The channel preference will always takes the precedence over network interface. Why I'm saying this is, let's say you have a VLAN ID. You put a VLAN ID, generally where you will put the VLAN ID on the interface. How to actually you have two modes, right, in any customer, right, in network. So either they configure on the switch access port or trunk. Most of the time, my recommendation always request access ports. But let's say if the customer says no, I'll give only trunk, what you will do, you have to allow the VLAN manually here, because it is a trunk. If you don't put the VLAN, your traffic communication will not go. So what happens is, you need to click on the interface, which you will find it in the system network and interfaces. Click on the interface, then you will see something called VLAN. You need to put the VLAN ID there. That is called tagging. So let's say you did the tagging before LSCP, then after LSCP you didn't put the VLAN ID on the channel. What happens is, the channel don't have any VLAN, but interface has. So channel will always take precedence. So your communication will not work. So for your communication to work, when you are putting any interface on a LSCP channel, what you need to do, you need to tag the VLAN ID on the LSCP channel also. It's very simple. Go to here, system network channels, click on it, and there is a VLAN number there. Just put it there. That's it. It's very simple, but you need to know the concepts, right? This is the concept. So this will happen only, the VLAN ID trunking happens only when your switch side, it is a trunk port, not access port. If it is access port, you don't have headaches. You need to tag a VLAN, right, in access port. Now next thing is, LSCP need to be configured both on NetScaler and physical switches. This is very important, guys. So if you just configure LSCP on your, LSCP is like a handshake from both the sides, from the physical switch and on the NetScaler. If you configure only on NetScaler, it don't work. If you are configured only on the switch, it don't work. You have to configure LSCP on both the sides, right? So now coming back to how to do the LSCP configuration. LSCP configuration, actually people think it's very complex. I'm telling you, it's really simple. By default, LSCP is disabled because it depends on customer, right? So LSCP is disabled on all the interfaces. So let's say if you want to configure example interface 1, 2, 3, 4, like in our previous case, right? So 1.1, in 1 gigs in one LSCP. So what happens is, you go to each interface, system network interfaces, click on that interface 1.1, and then what you need to do, first you need to enable LSCP. You need to select that option. Then it will ask you a channel value. So you need to put 1, let's say example I'm telling you, or 2 or whatever. You can give any number, by the way, no one is stopping you. So let's say you put a value 1, and then you need to put HA monitoring also on. It's always recommended. Just these 3 things and say okay, that's it. And you need to do the same thing for all the 4. So if you are putting channel value 1 on one interface, you have to put only channel value 1 on all the interfaces. What by that, what you are telling is, you are creating a channel called 1 having all the 4 interfaces. That's the meaning. You want to create 2 channels, 2 LSCP, one for 1 gigs, one for 10 gigs. You can do it actually. So put 1 for 1 gigs, and let's say 2 for 10 gigs. So you are creating 2 channels there. It's very simple. Let's say after you created a channel, you want to monitor what's going on. You can do that from system network channels. Go here and click on the channel, and you can see the status there. It is up or down. The channel will come up only when you enable it, and the LSCP is configured on both the switches. It has to configure both the switches, right? By the way, guys, the picture looks really good because typically this is how we configure LSCP, right? 2 or 1 interface going to one switch and another switch. Why we do this? Why we have to configure LSCP? Because one reason is, you are providing a switch level redundancy. So you have 2 top of rack switches. Let's say this switch goes down. Let's say still your traffic will not be interrupted. Your traffic will still go from the second switch. That is the use of the LSCP. The second is to increase the throughput, as we discussed already. But there are some customers who do LSCP in a different way. Let's say I have a customer who only has one switch, example DMG switch, only one. But they want to have more throughput, not 1 gig. Let's say that they don't have 10 gig switches, they have only 1 gig. They want to have more throughput. Then what you will do, you will actually not connect all the to different switches, because they have only one switch. So you connect all the things to only one switch and you configure LACP. So LACP doesn't mean you need to have two or more switches. No, you can have LACP on one switch also, because LACP mainly you are creating to provide more throughput, using the existing links. So you can do that even with one switch also. So if that switch goes down, everything goes down, that's obvious, but it is possible. So this is LACP, guys. So when you put one, always remember there is something called LA/1 will be created automatically in the channels. So this is how it works. So when you put any value, let's say 2, automatically LA/2 will come. So all the rule of thumb, just to summarize, the LACP need to be configured on both the ends. The network team need to do on the switches, and you need to do on the NetScaler. All the interface, you need to identify the first the interfaces, let's say 1, 2 or 4, so you need to select all the interfaces and enable LACP, put the value, same value. It has to be 1, means it has to be 1 in all the interfaces in that LACP. You might have different LACPs, right? In that LACP you need to have the same value, and you need to select the HM monitoring on. And another thing, as we discussed, if you have the ports as trunks, the VLAN tagging need to be done on the channels, which is here, right? Now let's move to the NetScaler owned IPs. We already saw this before. So what we are trying to discuss here, when the traffic is going, so from the user, the traffic will come to the virtual IP and to the backend servers, right? So where are these virtual IPs are? So let's say that you have a LACP channel, example, right? So what happens is, you have, let's say these are the interfaces 1, 2, 3, 4. You created LACP with this. One user comes to one interface and they go, communication goes back. Another user comes to another interface, they go back. But all the interfaces traffic is maintained and load balanced properly. So for a user, actually they can use 4 gig throughput, not 1 gig. So the traffic will typically goes like this: virtual IP, and then from the subnet IP to the backend servers. Thanks, guys. That's it. We finished this module. Please continue watching the other modules part of this series. I had put a lot of efforts, because I have received a lot of calls and requests, on my website, which is shivashankara.org, that people are asking me to explain these things. That's why I started this series. Hope you enjoyed this. Please watch all other videos, and very important thing, like, subscribe, and share these videos with all your colleagues and friends. So let them also get benefited. Thank you, guys.